Right, just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Thomas Ramey. I'm a sculptor from Northern California.
And you're here at Buffalo Creek Art Center. When did you get here, Thomas?
I got here on July 14th, and I've been here, I think this Tuesday makes 3 weeks so far.
And you'll be here for probably until August, maybe 10th or so?
Yeah, 10th, 11th, somewhere like that. I've got a target date of about 4 weeks for the project.
Okay. You want to talk about your project?
Yeah, so I'm kind of still up in the air about a name for this, but what I do a lot with my projects is I go from sketches, but then I also move into a rendering. For me, it's a little easier, especially if I'm dealing with a client and they want to see something finished. So this is the rendering of the piece we've been working on. This spike shape, you can see it in the background over here, it's from another sculpture I did a while back, and I really liked the shape and I wanted to do more with it. So when I started kind of playing around with these shapes, I kept messing around with this configuration, and this is what I came up with. I thought it was kind of a fun abstract piece, and I originally tried to use it as a piece for some public art in Northern California, city of Elk Grove and a couple other places, and they were interested basically, a lot of it because of the spikes, just a little bit more on the dangerous side of sculpture, which is kind of the way I like it.
And how tall is that?
This piece is about, from this corner up here, is about 13 feet tall. The spikes from about here to here on the spikes is a little under 12 feet.
And that's made with stainless steel?
Yeah, so everything is constructed in stainless steel. Generally, I do most of my work in stainless steel because it has a lot more longevity in the piece. They don't rust from internal air or anything like that when they're outdoors. They survive a little bit longer.
And what kind of a program are you using on your computer here?
So this program is a free program that I think a lot of people should know about. It's called SketchUp. It's very popular in like the architectural world. It's starting to be a little bit more popular in sculpture world. I'm starting to see a lot more guys use it. It's a very basic program. It's not like a CAD program where you're writing DXF files and stuff like that. It's just more of a quick reference file. So it's kind of fun, and it makes it an easy tool to kind of come up with conceptual ideas.
Okay. So where are you right now?
Buffalo Creek Art Center.
Well, at what stage?
So right now I'm getting ready to start. I'm doing a little bit of cleanup on the two pieces that are installed now. The third piece, which is one we see right here in front of us, so I build all of these out of 10 gauge stainless, and I like to get the pieces so that they're nice and clean and kind of pretty much on the done side before I start the final assembly. This piece again it's just under 12 feet tall from that point to that point in the back, about 26 inches wide. It's all in 10 gauge stainless, so each one of these pieces weighs approximately about 250 pounds. So this one is kind of the last one I'm going to use to set on the top of the piece. When we're looking at the rendering, the spike that was on the top that kind of laid across it, this is what this one's going to be once it's done. The other two pieces are already kind of on the base plate, so we're kind of finishing up some of the little attachments. I'm cleaning up some of the attachment points from when I installed last night.
Let's go take a look at those.
So if we come over here, you'll see we've got the two main pieces that actually connect to the base are already installed. I started out with this first piece maybe 3 days ago. I installed the first piece 3 days ago, and I call that a base to build off of. So it's the piece I'm going to have the most welding to on the base plate to give it the most stability, and then I start adding these other pieces to it. So they're all three the exact same size. So I kind of flip them around a little bit. I kind of cut the tip off of this one so that it can kind of spike through the circle. And then it is attached over here. You can kind of see this is where a lot of the labor comes into to kind of like get all this stuff and clean and attached. But most of the finished work is done. I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on it to prep it for paint, because these flat surfaces on this side and on the back side and this side are all going to be painted red, and then the texturing is done with the stainless will be left as that texturing. You can see it more on the sides and everything too. But when it's done, it'll be about 12 to 13 feet tall. I'm not exactly sure yet.
So how did you do that texturing on the inside?
So all of this texturing is done with an orbital grinder. So in the stainless world, it's kind of a popular technique to use because stainless is such a bright, vibrant color that when you put a little bit of a pattern into it, you get a lot of glare off the sun. So if you walk past it, you see a lot of like reflection and movement across the sun. So it's a really playful pattern to use. I try to use a little bit of a pattern that goes with the shape. So this is kind of a long pattern. I didn't want a bunch of cut short little spaces in there. I wanted it to be a little bit longer so that when you walk past it, you can see these long lines, which makes you feel like the piece is a lot taller. If it was done in a lot of really short, you know, spotty kind of things, it doesn't seem like the piece is as big as it is.
And how did you get these two pieces together? I know you look pretty strong, but something tells me you weren't able to do this all by yourself.
Yeah, well, so this first piece was pretty easy. I actually did that one by myself with the overhead crane. And I just picked it up off a table, and then I cut the back of it to get my angle. I kind of ran, you know, I rigged some straps to it to kind of move it around and hang it. That one was pretty easy. But when we got to this one right here, fortunately Bill here at Buffalo Creek is a master of using the boom crane. And so I talked him into hanging out with me for 3 or 4 hours yesterday. And we rigged it up from the top to hang it. And then basically I had him kind of lower it out. We moved it outside, so we had room, you know, clearance on the top. And I had him kind of hang it, and I just kind of pushed the piece in and kind of figured out where I thought I liked it, made a couple of marks, and then while it was in there, I took a 2x4, actually a 4x4, and laid it down so I could get a parallel line from the base plate, so I knew kind of where I wanted it once I figured out the angle. Then we took it back down again, cut it so I could get the angle. So as we were installing this, I knew once that angle was flat and parallel with the plate, that's the angle that I was looking for. So the only thing I had to do from that point is figure out how far we wanted to go in this side. That was a little bit tricky because I've notched it to go into the original one, which gives it a lot more of its strength. So it's really only welded to the first one that was installed, which is what I call a base plate, which is the strongest part of the sculpture. And then it's mounted, welded, you can see kind of to the base down there. And that's it. So it's 250 pounds. You can see it doesn't really move. It's pretty solid welded. I TIG weld everything together, which is a pretty solid way of doing a lot of the stainless stuff as well.
All right, and if people want to see some of your other work, what's your website?
So if you want to see any other of my work in general, you can go to thomasrameyart.com, or you can go through Instagram. I'm Dreaded Artist at Instagram.
And why do they call you Dreaded Artist?
Because of my hair.
Now, I know everybody wants to know. The first question I asked you is, how long did it take to grow your hair that long?
Well, I've been growing it that long for about 20 years. I probably cut 1.5 foot of it off about every 3 or 4 years because it just gets unmaintainable and uncontrollable. So it's getting to that point now. I'll probably cut it to about here this summer. But, you know, it's one of those things that's behind me. I don't think about it. I think about what's in front of me.
And you're located in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, Sacramento, California is my full-time studio.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Bye.